scholar Christina and Angela Smith, reporting tonight this historical event in South African history. Today is a historical day due to a new president getting elected in South Africa, as well as a new presidential party getting elected into the government in over 50 years. For nearly 50 years, the South Africans were governed by a system of racial segregation, also known as an apartheid. Now I'm going to bring this to my colleague, Chris Tribuna. Now to Chris Tribuna.
Let's backtrack 50 years ago to the history of the apartheid. In 1948, the National Party gained power in South Africa. The National Party was a political party in South Africa founded in 1915 and was the governing party of the country on June 4, 1948, until today, this historical event in time. But let's backtrack even more. How did the apartheid even start? When European settlers settled in South Africa, white supremacy was huge because blacks were naturally slaves up until slavery was abolished. When the National Party got elected, the government led by rules of white supremacy by passing various legislation which provided a higher standard of living for whites and lowered standard for blacks. Now to Victoria Pendleton Waller with the rest of this historical report.
Nelson Mandela, the president of the African National Congress, was arrested in 1963 for going against the government for being a part of the African National Congress, which fought for civil rights and was banned. During his years in prison, he became an international symbol of resistance to the apartheid. In 1990, the South African government responded to international pressure and released Mandela, at the same time lifting the ban against the African National Congress. In 1991, Mandela became the African National Congress leader. And then, 3 years later today, Nelson Mandela was democratically elected in South Africa's first ever multiracial election and becoming their first black president. Now, back to my colleague, Chris Tribuna.
In 1990, the white president, Frederick Willem de Klerk, recognized how the economy was not sustainable with the apartheid system and released Nelson Mandela and unbanned the African National Congress that Mandela led. Despite some fears that the country could become unmanageable because of tribal conflict or even a military takeover by white armed forces, de Klerk and Mandela guided the country to democratic elections in 1994 with Mandela as president. Despite socialist support from socialist countries in its early years, the African National Convention maintained the mixed economy and encouraged the market economy, including foreign exchange controls. In January of 1991, General Secretary Joe Slavo, Deputy Finance Spokesman Harry Schwarz, and Deputy Finance Minister Ulrich Mares debated the state's role in the post-apartheid economy in a historic debate organized by the Institute for a Democratic Alternative for South Africa.
Thank you for watching back this special news event on the South African apartheid.